If you've survived a toxic person, something inside your brain has permanently changed. And if you're watching this, you already know what I'm talking about. That moment where you just stopped caring, where you could spot manipulation instantly, where your tolerance for BS hit absolute zero. Let me show you what actually happened. Your brain thinks it's in a war zone. When you're dealing with toxic people, your brain registers it as actual danger, not just stress. Danger. Your stress levels spike to combat level intensity. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between a physical attack and someone gaslighting you. This is why you can't sleep, can't focus, feel exhausted constantly, get sick all the time. The anxiety gets so bad that you start passing out. You can't drive for a year. You gain 30 pounds even though nothing else changed. You develop heart problems that doctors can't explain, until you leave and suddenly within months you're solid as a rock again. You're not weak. Your brain is trying to keep you alive. The click that changes everything. Survivors describe this moment differently, but it's always the same thing. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. It's getting exhausted with being treated poorly, not in some surface way but bone-deep, cellular. It's feeling switches flip in your brain that you didn't even know existed. It's when only total despair precedes a change in consciousness. This is when your brain's calculation changes. The cost of staying finally outweighs everything else. And something fundamental rewires. What actually happens after you leave toxicity behind? Here's what studies show. Half to two-thirds of people don't just recover, they transform into something completely different. This isn't bouncing back. This is breaking so completely that you rebuild from scratch. And what you build, often stronger than what they broke. Survival is the recovery. Transformation is refusing ever to be that small again. Think about the person who left a 35-year marriage to a covert narcissist, lost everything except her daughters, felt like she'd been in a war zone for decades. 4 years later, running her own business, turned 60, ready to retire on her terms, planning a life where her needs are at the front of the line, not selfishly but because she finally understands that taking care of herself first is how she shows up best in the world. That's not recovery. That's becoming someone new. And here are 5 ways that actually changes you. 1. Life hits different. When you've survived circumstances that were trying to destroy you, normal, peaceful moments feel extraordinary. You stop chasing chaos. You crave peace. Small things matter when you've spent years with someone trying to dim your light. 2. Your BS detector becomes surgical. You spot toxic people instantly. Started dating someone new who tried the same manipulation tricks? You smell it immediately and laugh in their face. That's what earned wisdom looks like. Your boundaries aren't suggestions anymore. They're healthcare requirements. You can only tolerate people for so long before you need to leave. That's not antisocial. That's a finely tuned BS meter working at an expert level. 3. You find strength you didn't know existed. People tell you you're resilient, confident, quiet but not shy, just thoughtful with what you say and how. It's discovering that you have no desire to date or socialize anymore because you're empathic, you absorb other people's problems like a sponge, and you simply cannot do that anymore. That's not isolation. That's self-preservation. 4. New doors open. Moving cross-country away from your hometown, and suddenly feeling switches in your brain being flipped. Leaving both a toxic partner and a toxic church where you were the pastor. Finding someone who actually validates you, remarrying, and landing in a better situation entirely. Your whole world expands when your perspective shifts. 5. What matters becomes crystal clear. You stop tolerating what you used to accept. You're done putting everyone else's welfare above your own. Not because you're selfish, but because you finally know that self-love means choosing to serve others not through sacrifice but intentionally. Your needs matter. That clarity is as sharp as glass. But here's the honest part nobody talks about. Growth and pain live together. You can transform and still have panic attacks. Still flinch at raised voices. Still carry PTSD and depression from what your parents did. Even at some point, you will think that the childhood trauma was the best thing that ever happened to you. Because the diamonds are created under pressure. But not everyone grows from trauma. Sometimes trauma just damages people, and that truth needs space too. Some people heal by simply returning to stability. Some remain broken in ways that matter. There's no hierarchy. Your path is yours. And here's what people who transform actually do. They set boundaries because their body demands it, and they learned it from survival. Slowly becoming that person who just wants to be left alone. Burning out on people in general. That's not bitterness. That's your nervous system establishing its own healthcare plan. They find support that validates their reality. That person who sees you, who confirms you're not crazy. Whether it's therapy, one solid friend, or a support group, that's often the only difference between being stuck and moving forward. They actively work through it, not letting it haunt them, consciously processing it, exposing the rot in the foundation, then burning it down and building it the way they actually want it. You're already different. If you're pickier about who gets your time, that's wisdom, not damage. If you spot red flags instantly, that's pattern recognition, not paranoia. If you value peace over excitement, that's maturity, not boring. One advantage of having been a victim of toxicity? You can identify toxic people quickly, even if that person is yourself. Your anxiety, your hypervigilance, your trust issues, these prove your brain protected you. You paid for this wisdom. Nobody can take it from you. What this really means: surviving toxic people isn't about being unbreakable. It's about discovering that when you break, you choose how you rebuild. True transformation isn't about bouncing back to who you were. It's about shattering so completely that you finally have the pieces to build something unbreakable. Your brain is rewiring right now. New connections forming. Old patterns are dying. You're becoming someone who knows the difference between love and manipulation, between connection and control. You're recognizing that you don't have the capacity to help everyone, and it's not up to you anyway. The important thing is not falling into the illusion that toxic people need you or that their behavior is somehow your fault. Toxic relationships leave marks. Scars aren't just about the pain, they're a roadmap to a stronger version of yourself that shows you where you've been and where you'll never go again. You don't owe anyone a transformation story. And if you are still rebuilding, still setting boundaries, you're not just surviving, you're becoming untouchable. Life isn't something that purely happens to you. And the good about it is you get to decide what you do, how you react, what lessons you learn. Never forget how much control you have over your life. Never underestimate your ability to turn things around. Drop a comment if this hit different, and subscribe if you want more real talk about what actually helps. Your brain is changing whether you're ready or not. The only question is, will you support it or fight it?